Let me tell you something most people never talk about. Losing is an art. It's not just something that happens to you. It's something you learn to use. You see, most people fear failure like it's poison. But what they don't realize is failure is just feedback. It's life's way of checking in and saying, "Are you serious about this?" or just flirting with the idea. The athlete who's willing to lose the race today is training to win tomorrow. The entrepreneur who's failed 3 businesses is sharpening the sword for the 4th. And the person in the gym, grinding through missed reps and shaky legs, is building more than muscle. They're building character. You have to learn how to lose with your eyes open. Most people lose and turn their head away. But if you lose right, you look it straight in the face, you ask, "What are you here to teach me?" and you listen. Losing doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you're in motion, you're trying, you're testing, you're climbing a mountain that most wouldn't even dare to look at. The truth is, losing is temporary. But quitting, that's permanent. And I'll take temporary pain over permanent regret any day of the week. Some of the most successful people you admire today, they didn't just lose once. They lost over and over again. And each time, they refused to let it define them. The lesson: don't take losing personally. Take it professionally. Treat it like a report card, not a death sentence. There's power in every loss if you're humble enough to see it and disciplined enough to respond. Train yourself to fail forward, to fall and rise in the same breath, to miss the shot but take it again tomorrow. Because losing, when used well, isn't the opposite of success. It's the bridge to it. Losing is an essential part of growth, not something to fear. It's not a curse, not a weakness, and certainly not a reason to stop. It's a signal that you're in the game, a signal that you've stretched beyond comfort, a sign that you were brave enough to try. See, people avoid losing because they associate it with shame. But the real shame is staying stuck in the same place, year after year, because you're too afraid to make a move. Growth doesn't happen in the safety of perfection. Growth happens in the messy middle, in the missed opportunities, in the setbacks, in the disappointments that make you question yourself, but build you in the process. Losing teaches you what success never could. It teaches you humility. It teaches you patience. It teaches you how to get back up with intention instead of ego. It tests your resolve. Anyone can be committed when things are going well. But your true commitment shows when the results disappear, when the crowd is silent, when no one's clapping, when it's just you and the pain of not getting what you worked for. That's where growth lives. That's where your future is shaped. You don't grow by pretending you're winning all the time. You grow by being honest about your losses. You grow by looking them in the face and saying, "Okay, I see you. Now teach me something." People say losing hurts. Yes, it does. But sometimes pain is the only way to wake you up to what needs to change. The athlete doesn't grow stronger by winning every match. They grow stronger by losing the hard ones, the ones that exposed their weak spots, the ones that showed them what to fix, where to focus, the ones that didn't feel fair, but were necessary. The same goes for life. You lose a job, you lose a client, you lose momentum, you lose a day, a week, a season. But each loss has the potential to plant something powerful, a seed of discipline, a seed of perspective, a seed of wisdom. You don't bury it, you use it, you water it with reflection, effort, and grit. And before long it starts to grow. That's the art of losing. It's not just enduring the pain, it's extracting the lesson. Not just surviving the fall, but standing up smarter. The ones who fear losing never discover their full strength, because they never go far enough to reach their limits. But you, if you're willing to lose, you're also willing to evolve, to learn, to push, to become someone who doesn't just chase greatness, but earns it, one hard lesson at a time. Every loss is feedback, not failure. Use it to improve. That shift in mindset changes everything. Because when you stop seeing losses as the end, you start seeing them as the beginning. Every missed shot, every failed attempt, every setback, they're not signs that you should quit. They're signals pointing out where you need to grow, signals showing you what's not working, so you can get to what asterisk will asterisk work. Most people take a loss and make it personal. They let it attach itself to their identity. They say, I failed, when really the truth is, I learned. If you're listening closely, losses speak louder than wins. Wins feel good, but losses asterisk teach. Asterisk, they shine a light on your blind spots. They highlight your weaknesses. They bring truth into focus, the kind of truth that success can sometimes hide. Because let's be honest, when everything's going right, you rarely stop to ask, what can I do better? But when you lose, when it stings, when it hurts, when you fall short, you asterisk have to asterisk ask that question. And that question is where the growth begins. So don't waste your losses by avoiding them. Study them, break them down, get curious, not bitter. Ask yourself, what did I overlook? Where was I unprepared? What habits cost me the result I wanted? Don't just feel the pain, learn from it, and then use it, apply it, build with it. That's what the greats do. They don't run from losses. They run asterisk into asterisk them, eyes wide open. They take every missed opportunity and turn it into wisdom. They don't see failure as a wall. They see it as a mirror, a reflection of where they are, and a reminder of where they could be, if they're willing to adjust. If they're willing to evolve, because growth doesn't happen in perfection. It happens in pressure. It happens in discomfort. It happens when you lose and still choose to rise again, not just with more effort, but with better direction. You don't get stronger by repeating success. You get stronger by facing what didn't work and refining your approach. And that's the key asterisk, refining. Asterisk, not repeating the same mistakes, not ignoring the feedback, but shaping yourself into something sharper with every setback you face. So don't call it failure, call it feedback. Use it like a coach. Let it correct you, guide you, challenge you. And let it push you into a version of yourself you never would have reached without it. Great athletes and entrepreneurs learn through repeated setbacks, not just one, not just the occasional failure, but a lifetime of falling, adjusting, and rising again. What separates the great from the average isn't talent, luck, or perfect timing. It's their relationship with struggle. It's how they respond when things fall apart, when the plan fails, when the wind slips through their fingers. When the whole world says you're not ready, and they still keep going. See, champions don't emerge from comfort. They're forged in fire. They become who they are through losses that humbled them, through moments that demanded more than they thought they had. The athlete who rises to the top has missed more shots than most have ever taken. They've stumbled in training. They've lost critical games. They've watched others take the spotlight. But instead of quitting, they studied those moments. They said, what can I fix? What can I sharpen? What can I do better tomorrow than I did today? That mindset, the willingness to asterisk grow through losing asterisk, that's what creates greatness. The same is true for entrepreneurs. They've launched ideas that failed, invested time, money, energy only to see it collapse. They've hired the wrong people, chased the wrong goals, made decisions that cost them more than they expected. But every time they fall, they extract something from it, a new insight, a new approach, a new layer of resilience, because true winners don't fear the fall, they use it. They understand that no major success comes without setbacks stacked beneath it. Each one is a brick, laid by persistence, cemented by discipline, and shaped by reflection. There is no shortcut. You can't bypass the struggle and expect to stay at the top. The path is built by setbacks. That's where the learning happens. That's where self-awareness is born. That's where hunger is sharpened. Every setback teaches you something about yourself. It shows you what you're made of. It shows you where your limits are and invites you to go beyond them. Great athletes use defeat as fuel. They take the sting and turn it into power. Great entrepreneurs do the same. They don't pretend the losses didn't happen. They study them. They let them hurt just enough to inspire change. Because pain is a better teacher than praise. You can't build something lasting if you only chase applause. You build something real when you face the failure, and asterisk, keep building anyway. Asterisk, so if you're in a setback, if things aren't going the way you planned, don't see it as the end. See it as a lesson, a turning point, a chapter in the story, not the whole book. Because the greatest wins in life are often born from the greatest losses and the courage to keep showing up after them. Face loss with awareness and ask what it can teach you. Don't just feel it, study it. Don't just endure it, learn from it. Most people experience loss and immediately try to escape it. They drown it out with noise, distraction, or blame. They run from it instead of sitting with it. But if you want to grow, if you want to evolve, you have to look loss in the eye, not with fear, but with curiosity, with a mind that says, this didn't go how I wanted. But why? Loss, when faced with awareness, becomes a mirror. It reflects your decisions. It reveals your weaknesses, and it shows you exactly where to grow. But you have to be honest. You have to be present. You have to resist the urge to label yourself a failure, and instead ask the deeper question, what is this moment trying to teach me? Sometimes it teaches patience. Sometimes it teaches discipline. Sometimes it teaches you that you weren't as ready as you thought, and that's okay. That's how life works. We try, we fall, we adjust, we rise. But awareness is the key that unlocks the wisdom within the fall. If you rush past it, you miss it. If you ignore it, you repeat it. But if you pause, reflect, and truly examine the loss, you begin to see the hidden lessons. Maybe you were too distracted. Maybe you cut corners. Maybe your preparation didn't match your ambition. That kind of clarity only comes from conscious reflection, not from regret, not from self-pity, but from responsibility, owning your part in the loss, not to shame yourself, but to sharpen yourself. You can't become better by pretending nothing went wrong. You become better by facing what went wrong and doing something about it. Every loss has a voice. It's whispering a lesson, a truth, a correction. And if you're present enough, humble enough, and disciplined enough, you can hear it, you can use it, because awareness turns pain into progress. Awareness transforms defeat into direction. It helps you make sense of the chaos. It gives the setback purpose. Without awareness, loss becomes weight. It drags you down, it buries you. But with awareness, it becomes fuel. It lifts you, it gives you an edge. It builds the kind of wisdom that no textbook, no coach, no mentor can hand you. It's earned through your own experience, through your own reflection. So the next time you lose, don't just get frustrated. Don't just move on like nothing happened. Stop, breathe, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Where is the opportunity in this pain? How can I grow from this exact moment? That's the mindset that creates champions. Not avoiding loss, but understanding it, studying it, and using it as a stepping stone to your next level. Losing shows effort. Only those in motion can stumble. You can't trip if you're standing still. You can't fall if you're not moving forward. You can't fail if you never try. So when you lose, don't see it as weakness. See it as proof that you had the courage to take a step, that you had the fire to chase something uncertain, that you were bold enough to enter the arena. Most people never do. They stay in their comfort zones. They avoid risk. They avoid the possibility of failure, but in doing so, they avoid the possibility of greatness. The stumble means you were active. It means you were doing something hard. It means you put your energy on the line. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's frustrating. But don't overlook what it represents: effort, intention, motion. You were moving towards something, and anytime you move forward, you're going to face resistance. You're going to face unexpected outcomes, but that's part of the path. That's how you separate the dreamers from the doers. Because the doers understand that progress comes through imperfection. You don't build anything valuable by waiting for everything to go right. You build it by doing, by failing, by correcting. That's real growth. That's real strength. Every stumble leaves a mark, but those marks are your proof that you were in the fight. You were learning. You were pushing boundaries. And even if the outcome didn't go your way, the process made you better. It refined your skill. It tested your mindset. It deepened your hunger. So don't resent the stumble. Respect it. Respect the part of you that showed up when it was easier to stay comfortable. Respect the energy it took to go all in, even when the outcome was uncertain. The people who never fall are usually the ones who never step up. They sit on the sidelines, they comment, they criticize, but they never risk anything themselves. They don't understand what it takes to move forward and stumble in pursuit of something bigger. You do, and that matters, because motion is the only path to mastery. You can't grow without movement. You can't succeed without effort. And you can't make real progress without accepting that stumbles will be part of the journey. They don't mean you're off track. They mean you're asterisk on asterisk it. They mean you're engaged in the process. And the process is where transformation happens, step by step, fall by fall, correction by correction. So if you've stumbled, good. It means you're in motion. It means you're doing something real. Now get back up, take another step, and keep moving toward the version of you that doesn't just dream but builds. Losing is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. The sting of a loss fades with time, but the weight of quitting that lingers, that carves its way into your memory, that stays with you long after the moment has passed, because losing means you were still in the game. You tried, you gave what you had, you showed up, but quitting means you walked away, not because it was impossible, but because it was uncomfortable, because it tested you, because it pushed you to the edge of what you thought you could handle. Everyone loses, even the best fall, even the strongest stumble, but not everyone quits. The ones who make it to the top, they're not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to give up. They understand that losing is part of the journey. They don't let it define them. They don't let one moment rewrite their entire story. They don't give temporary pain the power to make permanent decisions. You can recover from a loss. You can regroup. You can reset, rebuild, and return stronger. But when you quit, you close the door on growth. You silence the possibility of what could have been. You turn off the path that might have led to your breakthrough. And for what? For comfort, for certainty, for the illusion of safety. There is no safety in quitting. Only regret. Only the nagging thought that maybe, just maybe, you had more in you. But you'll never know, because you walked away. And that's the part that hurts the most. It's not the failure itself. It's the silence that follows. The silence of a dream abandoned. The silence of effort left on the table. But when you lose and keep going, there's noise. There's momentum, there's movement, there's growth happening in the background, even if you don't see it right away. The road is never smooth. It's not supposed to be. It's filled with bumps, blocks, and moments of doubt. But that's what makes it worth walking. Because every time you keep going, you become a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more prepared for the next challenge. And one day, you'll look back and realize that those temporary losses were actually setting the foundation for something greater. So don't let a single failure make the decision for you. Don't let one tough day convince you that your dream isn't possible, because dreams are built in the struggle, and they're protected by the refusal to quit. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be persistent. You don't have to win every battle, you just have to stay in the fight. Keep moving, keep showing up, because the loss you feel today, it will pass. But if you quit, you carry that choice with you forever. Success is often built on a foundation of repeated losses, not occasional losses, repeated, consistent, disappointments stacked on top of each other. Setbacks that seem endless, moments where it feels like everything is slipping away, and yet, those losses form the very ground on which greatness stands. It's easy to admire someone's success from a distance. It's easy to look at the highlight reel, the trophies, the applause, the polished final product. But what you don't see are the years behind the scenes, the failures no one clapped for, the trials no one posted about, the quiet moments when they had every reason to quit but didn't. Because success isn't clean, it's not neat, it's not always graceful, it's gritty, it's heavy, it's shaped by falls that make you question your path, and by the courage to keep going anyway. Each loss carries a lesson. Each setback offers clarity, and over time, those lessons stack up. They form a framework, a deeper understanding, a sharper mind, a stronger will. They become the building blocks of mastery. Without the losses, the wins wouldn't be possible, because the losses are where the learning lives, where you find out what doesn't work, where you discover what you're made of, where you identify the gaps in your preparation, your mindset, your discipline. And when you correct those things, you grow, you level up, you move from good to great, not because everything went right, but because you endured everything that went wrong. The entrepreneur who built $1 million company usually failed at the first one. The athlete on top of the podium usually spent years losing matches no one remembers. The speaker who moves crowds was once terrified to speak in a quiet room. They've all tasted loss. They've all felt the sting. But they saw something in those moments, an opportunity to grow instead of give up, and that choice made all the difference. Success built without struggle is fragile. It's easily shaken, but success built on loss, that's unshakable because you've been tested, you've been broken down and rebuilt. You've faced reality and chosen resilience. You know what it took to get here, and you're not afraid to keep earning it. So if you're losing right now, if nothing seems to be going your way, if you feel like you're failing more than you're winning, understand this. You're not off track. You're building. You're learning. You're laying the foundation, the one every champion has stood on, the one every leader has walked across. Keep laying those bricks. Keep learning from the cracks. Because when the structure rises, when the winds finally come, you'll know they weren't luck. They were built on every loss that came before. Don't internalize defeat. Treat it as data, not identity. Just because you lost doesn't mean you are a loser. Just because something failed doesn't mean asterisk. You asterisk are a failure. But that's what many people do. They take the result and wear it like a label. They let one bad outcome define their entire worth. They forget that defeat is part of the process, not the definition of who they are. The moment you internalize defeat, you stop learning from it. You stop seeing it as a tool. You start carrying it like a burden. But defeat isn't meant to weigh you down. It's meant to inform you, to show you what happened, to highlight what needs to change. That's all it is, information, like a report card. Like a snapshot of where you are right now, not where you're destined to stay. When you treat defeat as data, you gain power. You begin to analyze it. You step back and ask, what went wrong? What did I miss? What can I do better next time? Now you're growing. Now you're thinking. Now you're moving forward instead of shrinking back. But when you treat it like identity, you freeze. You tell yourself stories that aren't true. You say things like, I'm not good enough, I'll never make it, this just isn't for me. And those stories become walls. They keep you small, they keep you stuck, they stop you before the next opportunity even shows up. But here's the truth, defeat is temporary, it's an event, it's a result, it's a single point in a much longer journey. And it can be used, it can be measured, it can be broken down, studied, and transformed into progress. The greatest performers in the world don't avoid defeat. They experience it constantly, but they don't let it define them. They treat it like feedback, they listen to it, they learn from it, and then they move on, wiser, sharper, stronger. You don't have to ignore the pain of losing. You don't have to pretend it doesn't hurt. But you do have to be careful what you attach to it. Don't attach your identity. Don't attach your future. Don't attach your sense of worth. Just extract the lesson. Let defeat be the signal, not the sentence. Let it point you toward a better approach. Let it show you where the gaps are so you can fill them. That's how you become resilient. That's how you grow without shame. That's how you stay in the game even when it gets hard. Because the people who win in the end are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to let the fall become the final word. They rise because they see defeat for what it really is, a teacher, not a title. Use loss to build mental toughness, not bitterness. Because what happens to you doesn't matter as much as what you do with it. Loss has power, but it only becomes destructive when you let it poison your mindset. You can let it harden your heart, or you can let it sharpen your focus. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. The choice is always yours. Every setback carries energy, and how you channel that energy determines who you become. Some people take loss and turn it into resentment. They replay it over and over. They blame the world, they hold grudges, and in doing so, they stay stuck. They carry the past into every step forward. They wear the weight of what happened instead of learning from it. But others use that same loss as fuel. They take the pain and turn it into power. They don't ignore the emotion, they feel it, but they don't live in it. They don't let it cloud their vision. They let it clear their purpose, because pain, when used right, creates clarity. It shows you what matters. It shows you what you still care about. It shows you what you need to improve. Mental toughness isn't about pretending you're not hurt. It's about choosing how you respond when you are. It's about standing up when it would be easier to shut down. It's about showing up again when everything in you says walk away. You can't control every loss, but you can control what you do after it. You can use it as a reason to get stronger, to dig deeper, to train harder, to think smarter, to lead with discipline instead of emotion. That's what mental toughness really is: consistency in the face of chaos. Discipline when the outcome doesn't go your way. Focus when your heart feels heavy. It's the decision to keep becoming, even when it hurts to try again. Loss can either close your heart or open your mind. It can make you a victim or forge you into a warrior. It doesn't happen by accident. You have to decide. You have to decide not to let one moment define your character, not to let one setback speak louder than your future, not to let bitterness win, because bitterness is easy. It's passive. It requires no discipline, but toughness. Toughness is earned. It's built in the silence, in the recovery, in the choice to keep believing when the evidence is thin. So take the loss, feel it, study it, then convert it into something useful. Convert it into endurance, convert it into patience, convert it into fuel for your next level, because the strongest minds are not the ones that never fall. They're the ones that fall, feel the weight, and rise anyway, unshaken, unbitter, and unbreakable. Failure isn't the end, it's the path forward if you respond with discipline. It only becomes final when you stop moving. It only becomes permanent when you stop believing. But if you meet failure with discipline, it becomes a stepping stone, a lesson, a tool, a turning point. The truth is, everyone fails. The difference is how they respond. Some let it define them, others let it refine them, some give up, others get better. It's not about what happens, it's about what you do next. Discipline is the bridge between failure and progress. Without it, failure leads to frustration. But with it, failure leads to growth. It takes discipline to pause and reflect, to say, what went wrong, instead of why me? It takes discipline to keep showing up after you've fallen flat, to push through the embarrassment, to rise through the disappointment, to believe that this moment doesn't have to be your final chapter. Failure tests your ego. It strips away comfort. It exposes the truth about your preparation, your habits, your focus. But that's not a bad thing. That's where transformation begins. Because once you see where you've fallen short, you can start building better, stronger, smarter. Failure becomes the feedback you never wanted but desperately needed. It's a teacher with no filter. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't sugarcoat. It shows you what's real, and discipline is how you turn that truth into action, into change, into momentum. Without discipline, failure leads to excuses. With discipline, it leads to excellence. You can't control every outcome. You can't always avoid the fall, but you can always control your recovery, your response, your ability to keep your head in the game when the scoreboard doesn't favor you. Discipline is showing up to the gym the day after a tough loss. It's rewriting the plan after the first one didn't work. It's doing the reps, making the calls, reading the books, fixing the flaws even when no one's watching. Even when the last attempt failed, that's where success begins, not in the win but in the comeback, in the quiet return after the fall. That's where greatness is built. So don't fear failure. Don't run from it. Face it, feel it, then respond with discipline. Let it shape you. Let it stretch you. Let it lead you forward, not because it was part of the plan, but because you had the mindset to use it. Because failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of something more, if you're willing to keep walking through it with focus, with grit, and with relentless discipline. So when failure comes, and it will, don't shrink, don't surrender. Stand tall, take the hit, and keep moving. Because every setback is shaping something in you. And if you stay disciplined long enough, you'll look back and realize that what once felt like the end was actually the beginning of everything you were becoming. This is your path. Walk it with strength. Walk it with focus. And no matter how many times you fall, make sure you rise one more time.